Es muss hier enden. Deine stählernen Schwingen sind nun unsere letzte Hoffnung. Ein gigantischer Sturm zieht auf. Krieg und Zerstörung verschlingen unsere Welt. Und obwohl uns Galaxien trennen, sind wir in Gedanken bei dir. Sturmwind, diese Nachricht geht an alle Verbliebenen. Wir warten.
Hello and welcome to a brand new Retro Core, and this week we've got something very special for you. It's a brand new Sega Dreamcast game. It's a Sturmwind. I hope I pronounced that right. In fact, this game is so new it's not even released yet. Coming to us from Duranic, this homebrew shooter promises to be the most impressive homebrew shooter ever made for the Dreamcast. Where to begin? Well, as I said to Duranic, Sturmwind wouldn't look out of place if it was released on the Xbox 360 and the Arcade Live. It really does look that good. The use of fully animated pre-rendered backgrounds along with graphical effects, which you normally only see in tech demos by the demo scene, really make this one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful 2D Dreamcast game ever made. That is beautiful. It's hard to believe that is coming from a Sega Dreamcast. So we know Sturmwind looks like a dream, but that doesn't really mean anything if it plays like a load of crap. Luckily, the team behind this game certainly know their shooters, and you can clearly see that from all the little influences from various other shooters from the past, such as Hydlide with the weapon system. In fact, the middle weapon seems to be taken straight from Hydlide, which is no bad thing. You got the little options which come straight from the R-Type, and you got little bits of Thunder Force and Radius in there too, as well as other shoot maps. But it's not like this game just ripping them off. It's sort of taking little neat ideas from various other games and sort of reworking them into this game. And the end result is fantastic. So you start the game with 3 weapons. You got the Vulcan, which is the one in the middle. You got the green laser, which is the one over on the right hand side, and you got sort of the wide beam, which is the one on the far left. Each weapon can be fired forwards or backwards, as you can see right here. Also, your options can be set to fire forwards or backwards also, which can come really handy in some tricky situations. It's not that this game is really difficult. In fact, Duranic have actually set out to make this game accessible to pretty much all gamers. So even a complete novice will be able to get quite far, well not quite far, at least the first few levels without really putting much effort into the game. Of course, for us veteran shooting-uppers, we want to put it on a bit of a higher level setting to get more of a challenge, and the game certainly does pack a challenge when you rack up the difficulty setting. So each weapon that you have can be powered up by the icons which are dropped, which you've probably seen quite a few times by now. Each item that's dropped is basically the same, and it's changed by shooting the item, quite similar to the way you change the colour of the bells in the Proteus and the what they call the Twinbee games. Each weapon can be powered up to a value of 3. And if you do actually get hit by an enemy or a projectile, you will lose powered up from that weapon. Lose all your powered ups from that particular weapon, and you lose the weapon. But don't worry, because if you manage to power up the remaining weapons, you're gonna get your lost weapon back again, if that makes any sense, by collecting the appropriate icon. So Sturmwind has 2 different modes of play. You've got the original mode and the arcade mode. Now the arcade mode is basically just 6 levels played, continuously. And on easy level setting, it's not that difficult, but it does pack quite a challenge when you put on the high difficult settings. The main mode in the game is the normal mode. That consists of 16 levels, believe it or not. Don't worry, not all levels are really long scrolling levels, some of them may just contain a boss or they might be quite short. Now you may be thinking that the backgrounds are way too busy and it becomes very difficult to see what's going on in the game. And to be honest, when I first played this game, I thought the same thing. But the more I played it, the more I sort of drifted my eyes away from the beautiful eye candy, as good as it looks, and focused more on the actual gameplay. And I found myself not flying into projectiles or anything. The game is actually very easy to play. There are many homebrew shooters on the Sega Dreamcast, but none come nowhere near the level of professional finish as this game does. You know, don't be putting your nose up thinking this is just another cheaply made homebrew game, because it certainly is not. As I said at the beginning of this video, this game could easily be put onto Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network, and people would flood to it. The game really is that good. And when you consider that Garoudensetsu have added such things as VJ compatibility, Rumble Pack compatibility, SD card support for future contents, and who knows what. It's all a big secret at the moment. And you've also got internet web codes as well for the high score tables. You've got 3 level settings of difficulty and fully configurable controls. This game has got everything you need. So stay tuned to the show until the very end, when you can find out where you can get this game and roughly how much it's going to cost. Garoudensetsu Special. And he said it too, better known as Fatal Fury Special in the West, and this game has a special place in my heart. I think it's mainly because it was the very first beat-em-up I played with such a wide variety of characters. It's also one of the very first beat-em-ups I played which really had truly impressive backgrounds. Just look at that! Even the 16-bit ports to the Sega Mega CD and Mega CD? It wasn't the Mega CD, was it? Oh yes it was! Mega CD. And even the Sega Mega Drive had the normal Fatal Fury 2, which had this background in, and the Super Famicom version. All looked really nice, but none of them looked as good as the original Neo Geo. Mind you, the Super Famicom version did have better audio in my opinion. So Garoudensetsu, or Fatal Fury, whichever name you want to call it, actually features that lovely trademark of the series where you can jump in and out of the backgrounds. I think that little twist to the gameplay. Never really caught on though, not many beat 'em ups use that feature, and I can sort of see why. It's quite annoying to be honest. Gameplay wise, it's quite simplistic by today's standards, but you know, it's still quite fun to play and easy to get into. The controls can be a little bit unusual to get used to, I guess, since they don't really follow the standard Capcom movements on the joystick. But once you've learned a new set of moves, you'll find yourself kicking ass in no time. Actually, when I said the Super Famicom sounded better, this stage is a prime example of how the Super Famicom music did sound better than the Neo Geo original. Even this stage seems to sound better on the Super Famicom version. But that's just me. Oh god, that needs to come out. Whew. We've got a classic bit of shite for you this week. It's Virtual Hydlide for the Sega Saturn. You just know it's shite when you hear the name Hydlide. Now, you've got to give credit where credit is due. T&E Soft certainly did think out of the box when making this game. They wanted to have a fully open 3D world. Now, it wasn't until the Xbox and Dreamcast and PlayStation 2 generation did that actually become possible. And considering this is a very, very early Sega Saturn game, I think released in 1996, was it? This is certainly pushing the boundaries of what was available at the time. Unfortunately, the lazy fucks didn't bother making a new game engine. Instead, they used the same shitty game engine they used for the golf games. Now, while the engine is fairly decent for the golf game, it certainly isn't fast enough or smooth enough for the 3D RPG. As you can bloody see. What the hell am I bloody fighting there? Looks like a turd with a bit of broccoli on its head. Anyway, you walk along the randomly generated dungeons, so every time you play the game it's going to be different, which is one bonus point if the game was any good. Anyway, you walk along these randomly generated dungeons. Hang on. I just walked right through the knight's armor then. Somebody forgot to put the collision detection in. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, you walk along these bloody dungeons, you find the point where you've got to go, you enter that point, you do whatever you do in that point, and then you come back out, back to the open world, wander around to the next point, and so on and so on. The game is just so bloody dull, it's unbelievable. I wonder if I can do anything with this crystal ball. Yeah, no I can't. And actually, the design of this building is quite weird, isn't it? Look at that, you got windows actually pointing into the opposite room. I don't think I've ever been into a building that does that. Very strange. So yeah, Virtual Hydlide, or Hydlide as it's known in Japanese, does try to be something a bit different, but unfortunately the technology and the programming know-how just wasn't around at the time. Maybe if T&E Soft went about making this game a few years later, it might have been a whole lot better. Hang on, where's my character gone? What a juddery heap of shit this is. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the arcade version and the Sega Saturn version of Last Bronx. Now, many people always slag the Sega Saturn for its 3D capabilities, and to be honest, it's not that hot, but it can do some good results when you got the right people working on the machine.
Round one. Fight!
Now, AM2, or Sega in general, made many 3D fighting games. In fact, Sega were the people who started the whole 3D fighting game scene. Now, PlayStation always go, yeah, we got Tekken and we got Toshinden, blah 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 blah. Well, to be honest, Toshinden's a lot of shit no matter what system you play it on, and Tekken, well, I don't like Tekken. Now, Soul Calibur, that's a good game. So anyway, how good can the Sega Saturn pull off a 3D fighter that's converted from a much more powerful arcade system? Well, as you can see right now, the arcade system is on the right and Sega Saturn is on the left, and the Sega Saturn version does look very similar to the arcade original. It's even running in a lovely high resolution. Now, one thing that you may not have noticed is the backgrounds on the Sega Saturn are actually in 2D, because Sega Saturn can't shift around that many polygons. But I bet quite a few of you out there didn't even realise they were in 2D until I just mentioned it. Of course, Sega Saturn's got a lot less detail on the polygon characters, and even the floor, which is a 2D sprite, seems to have a lot less detail in it. But overall, it's a very mighty good conversion. I must mention though that the arcade version is running at quite a slow frame rate due to my computer that I connect to the capture card on this powerful desktop not being able to run Model 2 emulation that well. But yeah, if you got a Sega Saturn, make sure you get yourself the Japanese version of Last Bronx, because it comes with a lovely bonus disc, which the Western version doesn't.
Avengers! Iron Man!
We seem to be doing quite a lot of Day-2 arcade games on there Retro Core recently, don't we? We've even got another one coming next week. This is the Avengers, which actually made a conversion to the Sega Mega Drive, believe it or not.
Avengers assemble! Help! Leave it to me!
As you can see, Deities have done a really good job on the backgrounds. They do look very cartoony. Unfortunately, the sprites are tiny. Not only are they tiny, but they also look a bit shit. I think basically what Deities were going for was the most hectic style beat 'em up they could think of. Because this is definitely one of those games that plays unfair. Especially you punch the enemy, they punch you. You punch them, they punch you. You punch them, they punch you. Happens quite a lot and it is bloody annoying. But get a friend to join in and it all changes.
You can't escape! You will be the one escaping!
Ooh, I'll be the one escaping, eh? And the game is unbelievably camp and cheesy. It's definitely got to be one of the most cheesy camper arcade beat-em-ups I've ever played, to be honest. And how many arcade beat-em-ups do you know that go from walk along beating the crap out of people into a 2D shooter? Only this one as far as I can think of. Boom! Yeah, that's him down. Lovely stuff. Okay, so we're going to have to bring this volume of Retro Core to an end. I'm a pretty busy guy now, so I don't really have time to make them longer. I'm very sorry about that. But don't forget to keep watching the video until the very end of the credits, because I'm going to give you some information on where you can get that wonderful brand new Dreamcast game, Sturmwind. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. So until the next volume of Retro Core, take it easy and keep on gaming.